Hello, welcome back to Victor Writes, Victor Reads. Today we are going to read a little bit of writing advice by myself. So, mining your life for stories, how you can find a bounty of topics to write about. This just kind of came from a place where I've had a lot of ideas and I wanted to share how I'm coming up with some of them. And hopefully, this is helpful to those who are interested in writing or understanding where writing ideas might come from. When I first started writing, I had no idea where I would get my ideas from. My writing journey began in an ordinary place, my work life. I never thought I'd write about my job. Who wants to read about spreadsheets and client calls? But as I started mining my professional life for material, I discovered that those mundane, work-related moments were filled with universal truths and lessons learned that others wanted to know about. This was particularly true in digital design, where my colleagues are voracious readers, always looking to improve themselves. By writing about work, I opened doors to new creative opportunities and tapped into a vein of stories that resonated with readers in a way I never expected. And that's why this mining fella's here. Let me walk you through some of the strategies I've learned for generating ideas and how you can turn them into pieces that connect with your audience. Start with your life. The stories are already there. When you're searching for writing ideas, the best place to start is often the most obvious, your own life. We sometimes think that our personal experiences are too ordinary to be interesting, but that's exactly where the magic lies. The more ordinary something is, the more likely it is that others can relate to it. For example, early in my writing career, I used to think that no one would care about how my newly found sobriety was impacted by the workplace culture of alcohol use I faced on a daily basis. I wrote an essay about my first year of sobriety while experiencing the daily presence of alcohol at work. It was cathartic, but I didn't expect much from it. Imagine my surprise when that piece became one of my most popular. People connected with it because they'd been there too. They knew exactly what it felt like to experience what I was sharing. This taught me that there is always a story buried in the everyday grind, and more often than not, it's something others will see in themselves. Take a look at your life. What's happening at work, at home, and in your relationships? What's frustrating, funny, or surprising? These moments are often gold mines for writing. You just have to give them a closer look. Listen to what's around you. Everyday conversations is inspiration. This one I've been using a lot lately. Really just going through life, listening, and kind of, I think I'm in the right mood to be receptive to what could be a good story or what could be a story. I found public conversations are another surprisingly rich source of inspiration. I'm not advocating for eavesdropping. Not exactly, but I've found that you can learn a lot just by paying attention to the conversations happening around you. The coffee shop banter, the snippets of dialogue you catch while standing in line at the grocery store. People are constantly telling stories, even if they don't realize it, and these stories can often spark ideas. I recently wrote a story inspired by a conversation my daughter had with a stranger, and it was given a boost by the great folks at Medium. All I did was think about how this conversation might have broader application to my life and others. The point is, inspiration is everywhere if you're open to it. Keep your ears open and let the world around you feed your creativity. When I first started writing about my job, I was hesitant. It felt too close, too personal, and honestly too boring. Once I embraced the fact that my work life was full of material, I found stories everywhere. What's interesting is that by writing about one thing I knew well, applying psychology to design, and then the culture of alcohol and tech in design, I started opening doors to writing about other topics I never imagined. When you dig deep into the subject you know well, you often find connections that lead you to bigger, more universal themes. Writing about what's familiar can be the gateway to discovering what's relatable to everyone else. Then there's prompts, writing groups, and stretching your mind. If mining your life and surroundings isn't enough, there are plenty of more structured ways to generate ideas. One of my favorite techniques is using writing prompts. Prompts push you to think outside the box and often lead you to stories you wouldn't have found otherwise. A simple prompt like write about a time you felt out of place can ignite ideas from long forgotten memories or experiences that you didn't realize were still lurking in the back of your mind. Joining writing groups is another invaluable strategy. Being around other writers helps spark ideas in ways you wouldn't expect. Not only can you get feedback from other writers, you might find a sense of community in the exchange of stories and the shared struggles. I've come out of writing group sessions brimming with new ideas just from hearing what others are working on. Another great tool is a brainstorming exercise called word associations. Write down a random word, any word like kitchen or night, then write the first 10 things that come to mind. Before you know it, you've got a mini network of ideas to pull from. It's a simple technique, but it's incredibly effective when you're stuck. You can go from kitchen to story about the time you passed out, blackout drunk on the kitchen floor in a matter of seconds. Why it's important to keep generating ideas. For writers, the well can run dry if we're not actively finding ways to refill it. The key to staying creatively charged is to always be on the lookout for new ideas, even in unexpected places. You might not think that your commute or your lunch break is material for a story, but you'd be surprised. Sometimes all it takes is seeing things from a new perspective. By pushing yourself to find inspiration in your life, in conversations, in your job, and through structured brainstorming, you'll always have something new to write about. Once you start generating ideas this way, you'll find that it opens doors to even more stories and opportunities. You don't have to wait for some mystical moment of inspiration. The stories are already there. All you need to do is pay attention and trust that the ordinary can be extraordinary when told through your unique voice. The idea is waiting to grab it. The idea is waiting for you to grab it. Start listening, start looking, and most of all, start writing. Then I've linked to another article by a writer who I've been admiring on Medium and chatting with in the comments of both of our articles. Hyena Dad, he goes by. And he writes one tip for big writing ideas, and he puts out a little process for going and mining Quora through ideas. So if you're on Quora, there's a lot of conversations happening there. And really, I mean, I do believe this in my career when I've talked to people who I work with about writing and their need to consider writing. You know, I've even advocated people who are as early in their career as a college student or an intern that if your experience in your intern program or your experience navigating the world of enrolling in applying to and enrolling in college is something someone else will be taking on soon, and they will be looking for information from others. So I think if you've had any experience, you can share it, and there might be others who are out there looking to learn from that experience. So I don't, I say all that to tell people don't look for reasons not to write. Just look for reasons that you could be writing and take it from there. You never know where it's going to go. I certainly didn't think writing a few articles about UX and psychology would lead to an adulthood, a middle adulthood full of writing. All right, that is all from me. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to my channel, head on over to medium.com, check out at Victor Yocco and see what else I've written. And if you see something on there that you'd like me to read, feel free to follow up. I was not picking my nose. I was scratching it. I was quit. Everybody, my comments are full of people calling me booger picker. All right, goodbye.